So we're going to bring enterprises in for dumb reasons, like it saves them money, it's more transparent. They're not going to understand that it's going to do the same thing that stablecoins do. People use stablecoins for use cases that they could never use any other asset for. Like you can't use a non-on-chain asset as collateral for some DeFi application. And what's going to happen is they're going to learn that by tokenizing these real-world assets, all of a sudden they're going to realize that like they can target brand new use cases, brand new applications, brand new user base. So the strategy is to add the features necessary to get that enterprise adoption that paves the way for mass retail adoption. We're not going to see mass retail adoption of DeFi in the next year or year and a half because all of the DeFi applications are basically gambling. I mean, they're either recreational applications or gambling applications. If we want to take over finance, we need the really boring, I need a checking account, I need a savings account, I need a retirement account, I need a stock portfolio, I need sensible investments, I need the equivalent of certificates of deposit. We have to build all the boring stuff, and enterprises are what's going to make that possible. So the strategy is, over the next year and a half to 2 years, bring in the enterprises with these features around tokenized real. They're going to do it for dumb reasons. Some of them will be visionaries. Some of them will see this vision and they'll come to blockchains because they understand that it's like revolutionizing finance. But a lot of them will be here just because it's cheaper and faster and it works on weekends and it has these tiny little advantages that are better is better, right? If I go to you and I say I have something better, you don't have to believe me that it's going to change the world. It's enough for you that it's better. And then hopefully in a year and a half to 2 years, we can really turn that corner to sort of mass retail adoption.
What you just watched is the CTO of Ripple, David Schwartz, drop a bombshell that could change the game for crypto and traditional finance. And if you're not paying attention, you're already late to the party. Ripple is making waves with a massive push into institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger, and this isn't just another crypto buzzword. According to their blog post, they're rolling out features like permissioned decentralized exchanges, credit-based lending, and new token standard tailored specifically for the big players. So exactly what he said is going to stand. You have to think about banks and financial institutions who are then going to onboard everyone else. The amount of developments for Q2 are shocking and will attract a whole new level of money. This is DeFi reimagined, not just for the retail crowd, but for the heavy hitters of Wall Street. But that's not where the story ends, because Ripple's also doubling down with crypto custody solutions aimed at fintechs and neobanks. They're quietly laying the groundwork to bring the next wave of institutional money into crypto, making it easier for the modern financial platforms to securely hold and now manage digital assets, something that we did not have access to, especially at the enterprise level. The crypto world is buzzing about this, while one lawyer on X might be digging into the legal angles, which could shift XRP's status and adoption, which we will cover in this video. Now, it's clear something big is brewing, and I have the question, is this the moment Ripple flips the script on the entire crypto space and actually starts to outperform everything yet again, or is this just another dud? We'll stick around for the full breakdown, and by the end, you'll see why the smart money is watching XRP very closely now. And as always, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777, and if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, PAULIE DEFI. Now, the first thing I want to cover, which is really going to set the stage for the rest of this video and the developments over at Ripple, is the fact that the SEC is continuing to drop their unlawful and unfair investigations into Coinbase, Robinhood, OpenSea, Uniswap, Gemini, MetaMask, and even the founder over at Hex, Richard Hart, which is absolutely insane. In other words, they are taking a 180-degree turn. The real question is, when will this happen for Ripple, as it is the longest standing and the most prominent legal battle that will really set the stage for the entire crypto market. Many people believe this will not only pump the entire crypto market, but most definitely XRP to new highs. And as we get all of this DeFi institutional stuff in play, this could easily 10x an XRP portfolio. Now, I understand that we have been really bearish recently all over the X timeline, and many people want to know whether or not this bull run is truly officially over. I did make a mention of the fact that their line of least resistance is currently and technically down, as we touched one last time that $1.95 to $2 range, which would complete our head and shoulders if we were to break down below. This was our last line of support before something really bad happens. That said, all of the positive developments lead me to believe that this might have been our local low and bottom. That doesn't mean that I'm not being cautious. It simply means that price action is king. The price is the price is the price. And so no amount of good news will eventually drive the price up if the line of least resistance or the trend is down. So ultimately, I do want to be very cautious and just say that although I do believe that if this is our local bottom, we are going to make some insane new highs through the end of May, or into May, I should say. However, I will be adding to my positions as I see the market recover a little bit more. Either way, I think this could possibly 10x our bags through the end of 2026. Still, alongside all of those dismissals, we do need to see a dismissal as well for XRP. Now, this lawyer believes the SEC's unexplained delay in dismissing the Ripple case is actually not due to the SEC, but due to Ripple. And this would totally make sense because Ripple might be negotiating all of Judge Torres's decision, because at the end of the day, they basically stated that XRP is not a security, which sent the price pumping pretty hard only to dump right back down to where it started. But they also found some bad boy provisions which are not great for Ripple, like it was considered a security when they were selling it to institutional clients, and the fact that they would have to pay a $125 million penalty for those issues. That said, he said, I believe the SEC would be accepting a settlement where both sides dismiss their appeals and the SEC takes the $125 million penalty in a heartbeat. Now, this would actually be really important for Ripple because if they want to IPO, they have to be 100% in good standing under the law, and they can't have these types of things on their record. So the only reason that we might not be seeing the SEC drop the suit completely is because XRP wants more favorable terms, or I should say Ripple. Still, with what we're seeing right now with all of these other companies, it leads me to believe that the SEC is going to play ball with Ripple and is actually going to give them very favorable terms because they are experiencing pressure from the current administration to be on top of things when it comes to crypto. And so once this is all water under the bridge, what's really exciting is the fact that Ripple is moving full steam ahead with their institutional products and getting institutions to adopt these products because they are bar none the best in the space, especially when it comes to crypto and blockchain. That said, we have a lot of things to talk about in this article, so I'm going to try to hustle through them and make them as easy to understand as possible. Now, one thing that they have worked on improving is their automated market maker, which is what you call an AMM, and this is basically an algorithm that allows for different products to be traded against each other in an automated manner. That said, they also developed an AMM clawback, which we've talked about on this channel before, which enables an issuers to claw back funds from a trust line in specific circumstances. So this is still decentralized. However, if there is a large vote of all of their validators that there was fraud here, then they will be able to recover stuff when it comes to account access or malicious activity. This is important when it comes to institutional clients because at the end of the day, there will always be fraudsters, and at some point in time, we need a way to regulate that. So this is great for institutions, and ultimately it will allow for institutional liquidity provisioning. It will allow for tokenized real-world asset trading. So when you really think about this, previously illiquid assets such as tokenized treasuries and even real estate, which are huge markets, can be efficiently traded. And it will even allow for more interesting products or opportunities, I should say, like arbitrage and cross-chain swaps, ensuring pricing accuracy across different DeFi ecosystems with their Oracle. Now, they're also going to be including the XLS40, which is decentralized identity. This feature enables self-sovereign identity, allowing users to establish verifiable identities without relying on centralized intermediaries. This is the beauty of crypto. We no longer need intermediaries, which makes things not only more affordable, but it truly makes things trustless. We no longer have to trust other parties, so we can trust the blockchain. However, by leveraging DIDs, institutions can enhance security, privacy, and compliance while maintaining decentralization. And the key word here is compliance, because ultimately that's all regulators care to see. If you're going to be adopted by institutions, they need to be compliant. So this will allow for KYC and AML. This will allow for permission finance and access control that only certain entities providing on-chain credentials can access. And finally, institutional onboarding will be a lot simpler because they're going to streamline the process of identity verification for all sorts of these different applications like bonds or real-world assets and real estate. And things just keep getting better and better and better for the XRPL as they drop their entire 2025 roadmap. And so they're really taking a focus on institutions with compliance first and then lending and programmability for their institutional clients. Because a lot of these institutions, although they might have really smart developers and programmers, at the end of the day, if these systems are not easy for them to use and integrate into their older stuff, their dinosaur technology, they're simply not going to use it. And they might build their own from the ground up when they could just use the XRPL. And so everything they're doing here is so exciting because yes, they will be offering tokenized bonds and grade asset management or even institutional lending markets. And of course, their stablecoin will be integrated into the entire mix, offering a lot of that value, or better yet, bringing a lot of that value into the XRP token because the XRP token runs the entire XRPL. And so why stop there when it comes to their business model? Why not offer all sorts of products for all sorts of institutional clients, even if they don't want to use the XRPL? Why not offer institutional grade crypto custody? That is something that already Coinbase does for all sorts of ETFs. But what if institutions didn't have to have a bunch and they only needed one where they use everything? And that's exactly what they're talking about, as 96% of institutional stakeholders see digital assets as an important diversification opportunity now. Maybe they just haven't entered the space. This is a $20 trillion opportunity, which is predicted to grow nearly 3 times faster than that of the traditional banking sector. It's absolutely insane. And guess what? Ripple Custody is now the comprehensive enterprise grade solution that will really focus on the majority of these institutional clients and making sure that they are above board when it comes to compliance, but also extremely safe and still have access to their crypto. Now, this will play nicely into this entire business model because at the end of the day, more and more money is going to be funneled into the XRPL and into their product offerings, and a lot of that value will find its way back to the XRP token. They're going to earn a portion of fees for every single thing that they custody. This is truly brilliant, and I believe they're making the right moves right now before mass adoption really comes into play. Now, really quickly, before I dive into any technicals or talk about the price action, if you haven't had the time, check out bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below to see Altcoin Pro University. Here's a 26-minute video that explains everything you get on the other side, and we do share an insane amount of value and live calls, and we have one of the best communities that are paying to actually be here, which means they are very serious about their crypto journey. So if you are and you want to take advantage of this bull run to the fullest, then head on over to bullrunners.com, because on the other side we offer everything from strategies and guides on like when to buy, when to sell, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, portfolio tips, tax management, how to build a portfolio, the dangers of investing and scams and how to avoid them, narratives and breakdowns that are popping off right now and will likely continue into the end of the bull run. And this is where things get exciting because we have a lot of members actually winning, like Peyton, who straight up said we have killers on the other side, and we've helped him up his knowledge on how to navigate DeFi and now use his computer because most people invest on their phones. Or for example, this gentleman by the name of David, who said his greatest thing about this is the community. He feels like it's more of a family than any other community he's been in, and you know how crypto communities can be. And the team does very well at acknowledging their comments when they could just ignore, like he's seen on other communities. And the list goes on. We've helped people earn all sorts of income here, but at the end of the day, they do have to put in the work, so we can't guarantee any results. Still, this gentleman joined on the $970 per year subscription. However, he just got it back with our help and pocketed an extra couple of $100, and that's because of a call that we made on the other side. And the value on the other side is bar none some of the best in the entire space. If you can just scroll and scroll and scroll, and not only do we get back to all of the people that we talk to or that have questions, but we make sure they leave feeling like they got the answer they needed to take the right direction in action. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more, head to bullrunners.com. You can find the link in the description below. Now let's get back into the video. So here's the deal about price action, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to pretend to know like I know exactly what's going to happen. However, here is what I do know. There seems to be a pretty strong range of resistance right back here. As you can see, when we broke into this range right here, we were resisted for just a few hours, I would say, potentially a day or two before we broke to the upside. However, when we broke to the upside, we were actually supported pretty heavily right down here at the $2 range down to 195. And so every single time we've touched this range, we seem to have bounced and broke for even potentially a new all-time high. And then what happened is we broke down on some serious volatility when the news came out around DeepSeek, and guess what? We were supported yet again, and we saw this nice little cup. However, we failed to see the handle really form into breakout. So that said, we actually broke right back down to the $1.95 range. Now, as things stand, this is a nice V-shaped bottom. We don't really have the volume to seriously support this type of a bottom, and volume is seriously declining into this range. So it is possible that we break for a new range high, at least since the breakdown, considering we are now toying with that 20 EMA. However, we have failed to see a 10 and 20 EMA crossover, and that is on a 4-hour time frame. So it is very much possible that we break right back up into this range of about $2.40 all the way down to about $2.32. This would be my range of resistance. However, when in doubt, zoom out. It's important to note that on a daily time frame, things aren't looking really too hot. We did have quite a bit of volume right here on this day, right after the severe breakdown, and I'll go ahead and put a line there. But as you can see, volume continued to decline into the sell-off. We have yet failed to see a real support where volume is now entering. So this leads me to believe that we're likely going to see some sort of resistance right back up here into the $2.40 range or even the $2.30 range. And again, the line of least resistance, or the path of least resistance, I should say, is going to be into the downside, as we now officially have a new intermediate shorter term downtrend. So this is our downtrend that is intermediate term. Our short-term downtrend, or excuse me, our short-term trend is down. And although right now for the very short term, I know I'm using short-term a lot at this point, we are currently to the upside, I would look to actually be selling into this position, especially when I see some weakness in these ranges. So things are not looking too good from a price action perspective, which really means that although we have all of this institutional grade building and the product is looking really good and Ripple is really doubling down and everything looks good, the money still isn't behind this move, and we can see that directly on the volume, and that's pretty consistent across the board on other exchanges. If I were to look at, for example, Kraken, if I'm looking at Binance, and even the USDT pair, I'm not seeing the type of volume on this candle that leads me to believe that we are going to break for some new highs. If anything, now we have a lot of resistance right in this $2.40 range, especially when you pull up that VRVP, as the majority of volume was traded right here at 240. If anything, this looks like a better short to me than a buy. However, if we break above, then yes, with all of the positive and bullish news, I think things will 10x into the bull run. However, I think it's possible we get a bit more downside, especially when you look at something like Bitcoin also breaking down. So that said, just be cautious. I wouldn't be adding to positions too much here. If anything, it might be a hold, and currently I'm holding my major position. However, a break below the $2 range to the 195 range one last time is going to be very dangerous, because that is a textbook head and shoulders pattern, which usually leads us to a 100% drop on the downside. In other words, if we pumped about $1.32 on the upside, then it is very much possible that we at least break down about a buck or 90 cents to $1.13. Our first range of support would be somewhere right here at the $1.53 range, and then our next range of support would be back down at about $1. And the reason that $1 is a really good range of support, even though that's not something that most people want to hear, however, most people would be in profit on this channel, is because we had a lot of support and resistance right back here in 2020. 2021. So yes, this would be a good range of support and resistance, but the price action isn't looking good just yet. I do expect a 10x at some point in the future, but I think it might happen after we see some pullbacks. Either way, if you want more updates and more exclusive access to private trainings and calls with me that are starting on March 4th, then go ahead and get access to Altcoin Pro University by heading to the link in the description below, bullrunners.com, to get trained up to the point where you're confident to make your own decisions in markets. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.